And it's going to be mostly Carla doing the talking. I'm just going to support her.
You're going to introduce me, though, right?
No, we're just going to talk.
Okay, start talking. That's right.
We're going to introduction.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
You're not my guest.
Go live in 5, 4, 3.
All right.
You know what I love?
What's
that literally these guys, that, well, you're not seeing right now, but, you know, our people who are holding everything, you know, Ricky and Brennan, were arguing. And for Ricky, he kind of knows us already. So he's like, okay, guys, 5, 4. And you and I are still arguing.
Yeah.
And he's looking at us like,
yeah, we're going to go live.
We're going to go live regardless where you guys are at.
So actually, this is like a little Q&A, and also just to kind of put the parameters of a challenge you put out yesterday. 14-day challenge. A 14-day challenge. And you had specifics.
And I have a ton of questions that were coming. And they're like, Carla, when do I start? Carla, almond milk was huge. And certain things, you know, a ton of questions. And I'm like, just trust the process. Just go in with the 14 days. It's only 14 days. So I didn't realize how many almond milk drinkers there were out there.
That was like an outrage.
It was.
When I was outraged.
I was like, this is insane. It's just almond milk. Get over it.
All right. So give yourself 14 days to show up powerfully to recalibrate your mind and body, regain a better relationship with food and eating on a whole new level. So what is the 14-day challenge?
The 14-day, you want to read it?
1 gallon of water a day. No sugar, which is tough because everything has sugar. As a matter of fact, I had my coffee this morning. Am I eliminated? I had a coffee with sugar.
You messed up the 14-day challenge. You didn't pay attention.
No packaged food, bread, or pasta. No alcohol. That's easy. No restaurant fast food. That's easy. No dairy, cheese, almond milk, and yogurt. Again, almond milk was an outrage. How dare you? And cheese, cheese is another thing. Like,
well, I want to explain all these things. So I'm going to go step by step on the challenges.
Let me just read it.
Okay, go for it.
No missed workouts. That means working out every day for 14 days.
Uh-huh.
No lies and no BS. Be true to yourself and see the results. And just tag me if you want to start the challenge so I can cheer you on. Tag me if you want to start. So let me go ahead and start with this. What is the point of this? Why so specific about all this? How is it supposed to do something for your body?
Okay, it's not necessarily supposed to be doing something for your body. You'll definitely see the results, okay? But 14 days, come on. 14 days is 14 days. And so the results will be there if you continue this. But it's mainly to see how strong you are, how mentally strong you are. If you're questioning everything along the way, things are going to get a little difficult. So, and that's kind of why I brought up this challenge, because there's a whole reason behind it. So let me go through the gallon of water. Let me go step by step.
Okay.
The gallon of water. I started my gallon of water years ago. I can't specifically tell you what year, but it has been years. And I'm very consistent and I'm very strict with my gallon of water. Even when I go out of town, I will make sure that I take an empty gallon with me. Therefore, if I can't, I don't know, find, a store around when I land from the airport, I start to fill up this gallon. There's so many odd things that you've gotten used to of me doing that you're like, what are you doing this for? It's like, you're just causing more craziness in your life, but it's not it. It's just that it's my lifestyle. And I was constantly asked throughout, time, and I'm still asked to this day, as people see me, they're like, oh, you compete, you're a competitor. I'm like, no, it's just my lifestyle. So nowadays you see, women with muscle and popped out shoulders and abs, and people are automatically assuming you're doing it for a reason, or purpose behind it. Why sacrifice so much for no reason at all? And it's like, because it makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. So these challenges are exactly for that. To see where you can take your mind, how mentally strong are you? 14 days, I didn't realize this, but yeah, almond milk is huge. You mean I can't drink almond milk? It's not about the almond milk being bad. It's how much almond milk do you have throughout the day? How much sugar do you have throughout the day?
Because that's compiled on everything else.
Everything else, right. So I know somebody said I only have it with my coffee in the morning, but you also have everything else in the morning that contains somewhat of healthy sugar. Mm-hmm. So it can be fruit, it can be whatever. So this is just a small little challenge to mentally challenge you to see how far you can take it. So the gallon of water, I've years ago committed myself to, okay, Carla, I'm going to drink a gallon a day and see where this goes. And I have to tell you, it was extremely hard to do this whole gallon thing because it was very inconvenient. I always had to pee.
Mm-hmm.
So,
oh, yeah, it's so inconvenient.
Right.
That's why I don't drink any water at all.
I know. And I think you even told me the other day, I called you. I said, hey, so how's your gallon? You're like, you know what? It's hard to drink it because I don't want to go to the restroom every 5 minutes. I got things to do. So as silly as that sounds, it's so true.
Yeah.
People don't want to take that extra step. It's inconvenient. So it's like, man, if I drink, I'm peeing all day and I got appointments, I got to do all these things, and I'm over here drinking a gallon of water.
Well,
What's the
it's
point
hard
of
traveling
this?
with you. It really is. Like we went to Flagstaff a couple days ago, just drop off our daughter.
And I had a couple pee spots.
Yeah, we had to stop a few times there, not because of the kids, but because of Carla and her water.
And then when I fly, I make sure that I always get an aisle seat so I can not inconvenience anybody. And I strictly go into the bathroom and do my thing kind of deal. But when I start, do certain things like walk the mall with my daughters or go to their sporting events, I always have to make sure when I go into the facilities, where's the bathroom located.
So you don't look for the exits in case of an emergency.
No, I
You
look for bathrooms.
For the bathrooms. All right.
And so I've wired myself to do this literally for years, and that's
Yeah.
just who I am. So if you don't really know me and you kind of hang out with me, you're just like, man, this is annoying. I'm annoying to you, and I can see it. But it's not about you. It's about how it makes me feel.
Right.
And then so don't question me, Carla, how do you become this person? Because, well, do what I do.
It's
going to take some sacrifices, right? So that's why the gallon of water, one, it's good for your health, it's good for your skin, it cleans you out, and it helps you lose weight, and it keeps you full all day. That's the purpose of the gallon. The more you're flushing out, the better, you're losing weight. You're not holding all that water. So the more, and plus you live in Arizona. People who are living in Arizona, I know there's some that commented that don't live in Arizona, but man, if you live in Arizona, that's huge.
And I can tell when I don't drink enough water. I mean, my lips get chapped, and also like I start my eyebrows start peeling, like the skin under my eyebrows. I can tell. Okay, I haven't drank enough water, but I haven't measured, and I'm not as strict as I used to be because I used to carry this gallon just like you, and you would put little lines on it for me to say where I should be, like at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Right.
Now I depend on this, but I find myself, because I need to drink like 6 of these
So
in order for it to equal this gallon.
I'm so glad you brought that up. So I want to talk about this, if you can see. So people carry these are
Flasks.
so cool too, the Asian
Yeah.
Associates. I really love them. We have to do the work too, but people always carry these,
Flasks.
your flasks and stuff and all these things. But anyway, the reason
think
why
it's a
I don't
flask.
carry that, because people ask me, why don't you carry that? The reason why I don't carry that is because of this. You have a habit of constantly filling it up, and you really don't know how much water you actually drink. So this doesn't need to be empty for you to actually fill it up. It can be halfway and you go and fill it up. And you're still not drinking a full gallon of water because you're constantly filling up when you don't need to, and
So
you really don't know if you're
we're
drinking.
overcomplicating it because
Correct.
now I have to track the number of times I go.
Correct.
I don't remember now. I think
Right.
it's either 2 or 3
Right.
now that I've done it. So
Right. So what I do with my gallon is I literally buy a couple a day to hold me off for the couple of weeks or whatever. Not a couple of days, but if I go to the groceries, I'll purchase 5 or 6 of them to last me
Okay.
one a day kind of deal.
Yeah.
And if I do carry that, I always make sure I use one of my gallons to fill that up.
Yeah.
Because I know that my gallon is gone
do
by
that.
filling that. Yeah, so I do that, right? So I carry a cup all the time, and that's fine as long as I fill it up with my own gallon and I know
So
that.
you're tracking it.
Right.
Okay, good.
So that is the biggest thing people do is constantly really say, I drink a gallon when you really don't know you drink a gallon.
This really does wonders for your skin. I mean, 90% I think is made up of water of
Yep.
some sort in our body. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But a high percentage of our total makeup is through water. But it does help with skin, right?
Oh,
It
yeah,
does-
it's huge. Give yourself 14 days drinking a gallon. You're going to see, take before and after photos. You're going to see how it does wonders to your skin and just your overall health, your energy. It's going to keep you full throughout the day. It's going to keep you hydrated. There's so many benefits to water. I mean, it's very simple to go and start doing your own research. And you'll see how the benefits of water,
Yeah.
but try to
Gets
stick
the
with
metabolism going.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to stick with 1 gallon a day. You'll see in 14 days
So-
how huge it is.
So the whole point of the almond milk, when you said no almond milk, is just say, hey, like, stay away from all liquids in general and just try the water
Right.
to see how that works for you.
That was the reason why I said no almond milk or anything like that, because I know people do fat-free, sugar-free drinks and all these things. It's like, why make it difficult and just stay away from it completely and focus on your gallon?
Yeah, because
it's
those are
just for
additional
14
calories
days.
that you don't really
Right.
need, additional sugars, and it, of
So
course,
when people were questioning what's wrong with the almond milk,
There's nothing wrong with it.
completely nothing. If you're a dairy drinker, I'm not telling you that I know all this about dairy's good, dairy's bad. I just know there's a ton of research out there. See if it works for you, great. Dairy doesn't do well with me. I stay away from it. And not only that, I don't like to be thrown off with sugar-free and all this other nonsense. It's just, I stick to water.
sugar-free still has chemical makeups or
Right.
what else?
And again-
components to it that your body can't process.
And we can
so it
get
turns into
very detailed in that,
Yeah.
AZ, but why make it difficult?
simplifying
Just
it.
simplify it. And so stop questioning the why and questions and all
You're a
this.
little aggressive today. Like, are you upset about?
Is that why you're looking at me?
Yeah, like
Because I'm a little
you're
upset?
chastising everybody.
No, I'm not. Am I?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Maybe not. Maybe
you know what it is? I got to tell you this.
you're just passionate.
If you work with me, and I know some of you do who are watching, I'm very passionate.
Yeah.
And when I'm on calls with my clients, I'm like,
In your face.
in your face, because I catch on a bunch of lies, and I will call you out on it.
Yeah.
So when you're
So this is
when
not
you're
about-
talking when you're talking to me, and they're like, "Oh, I've done all this, Carla, but you know what? There was this one barbecue," and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, so I will call you on your bullshit. So I'm just
I like it. I like the passion. I
Yeah,
love it.
and it's why
I
I
just
don't-
want to warn them that it's not about anyone in particular or anything. Just
oh gosh, no.
Yeah, just
no,
go.
no, no.
Okay.
So that's just who I am. And if you follow me, you'll know this is
Yeah.
who I am. And
If
I'm
you
not.
get offended,
I'm not
well,
about.
you know who I am.
Yeah, if you get offended, why get on here?
Yeah.
So it's not to offend you. It's just to tell you, hey, this is what I do and it works. And I started somewhere. Somebody posted the other day. Somebody posted on that post saying, hey, you have to start somewhere. And it's so true. You have to start somewhere. And those are little baby steps. That's why I say take small steps,
Yes.
small deposits, because you do have to start somewhere to start wiring yourself that.
So this is about as much about commitment as it is about consistency,
Right.
right? It's just, can you drink this bottle or gallon of water every
Right.
day? Can you stay away from these types of foods? But let's go ahead and carry on. What do
Okay,
we have
so
next?
the other next is no sugar.
No sugar.
Now,
That's tough.
the no sugar is tough because for the most part, people don't read labels. They don't read labels. They actually don't see all the hidden sugars in there. And again, I'm not going to get detailed on what those names are. I do text them to my clients or send them over to my clients, email
What to
it to
look
them.
for
What to
on-
look for when they says no sugar or sugar-free.
Yeah.
I send them these long names on what
Because-
to look for the hidden sugars.
Yeah.
And it's huge because for the most part, people always say, oh, sugar-free, let me eat it. So it's better for you just to eat completely the full entire regular with sugar. I mean, there's so many hidden things in there that actually bloat you and you really don't know that they're bloating you. So you're always saying, well, this protein bar doesn't do well with me, which you're not realizing it's not the actual protein bar, it's what's in
It's
the
the
protein
sugar
bar.
alcohol in it,
Right.
which your body can't process.
So, but again, we crave sweets. So
Yeah.
we look for anything that says sugar-free. It's an excuse to eat it because you know it's going to be good or it wouldn't be selling.
yeah, sugar-free doesn't necessarily mean calorie-free. It doesn't mean fat-free. It doesn't
No.
mean
So one of
other
the
ingredient
one of
free.
the reasons why I say Z, you're for the most part, you're not going to read labels, right? You're not going to spend this whole entire grocery trip reading labels. So that's why on the post I said all natural. All natural really eliminates all the toxins and all the craziness that are in labels that you don't have to bother reading. So if you have to open it, and that's why I said no packaged food, because if it comes from a package, then again,
it's been preserved or
right.
chemicals have been added.
Right. So
or-
stick to the, the part of the grocery part where it's all fresh, your fruits and your veggies. And then somebody said, calories, don't worry about your calories. Can you imagine how crazy you would be at the groceries trying to count all these calories based on one banana, one apple? No, just start somewhere and stay away from packaged food. Stay away from the little things that possibly can make this whole process difficult. And it doesn't have to be that hard. So just stay with the freshness of things. And if it comes from a package, again, it might not be good for you. Just stay away from it. It's not forever. It's just a 14-day challenge to see
And
where your mind can
all
take
you're
you.
trying to let them see is at the end of 14 days, and you will go through withdrawal symptoms. Like we had
Oh, yeah.
Michelle, mention something. One of your
She said she had, I think in 3-4 days, you'll
Yeah.
start to notice that your body will get cranky, it'll
Yeah.
get sleepy. You'll be like, there's all kinds of craziness that happens to you. I know somebody got sick, like literally sick, couldn't get out of bed because they were just like, what is my body? They kind of felt like flu-like symptoms.
And kind of like drug withdrawal symptoms
Right.
of some sorts, right?
Right. And
It's an actual withdrawal.
And
of
they
sugar.
didn't, and you know what's great about that? They didn't realize actually how much sugar they were actually eating because they stuck to the story. I do eat everything fresh. I eat really healthy. I don't really, and I'm like, well, it's bullshit because your body wouldn't be shutting down and reacting to this in this way. And then they obviously ended up saying the truth. Like, you're right. When I started reading labels, I didn't realize all the hidden sugars that I was actually putting in my body. And then they were less bloated as well. So there's so many benefits behind the 14-day challenge.
So they're going to see a significant difference as far as the way they feel after the 14 days versus how they may feel today. And they'll also be able to identify like the foods that may not work well with them.
Right.
Like the dairies. Like
Yep.
the vast majority of individuals are lactose intolerant, but they don't know that.
They don't know that,
They eat
nope.
the ice creams, they eat milk, they
They
drink
eat
milk,
the,
they eat cheese, yet they don't realize they're lactose intolerant. So
And
they're
then they'll
inconsistent
move-
in the bathrooms.
Yep.
They're always feeling bloated or always feeling, just different.
Oh, they'll move towards the soy cheese, the soy milk, because they're like, well, I'm lactose, so the soy does better for me. How about just staying away from it for a good 14, 15, 18 days. I don't know. Challenge yourself to stay away from all
So
that.
is this like a detox of some sort, or?
You can call it that. I mean,
But
you
it's
know,
not
I don't like
based
to
on-
use the word diets and I don't like to use the word restrictions and none of that. It's just a little challenge to see where your body is bothered by all these foods and then mentally how far you can take yourself. That's why it's important. Someone else posted, I posted and replied to someone's post, journal this journey. Journal your 14 days to see how you feel. Take before and after photos. Journal your moods throughout the day. Do you have triggers at 3, 4 o'clock where you find yourself on this peak of like craving sugar and carbs? Then
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with anything other than your stress level.
Stress.
So monitor everything. This is only 14 days. 14 days, guys. It's super easy, but so difficult at the same time. And enjoy the process. Have fun in the journey of 14 days. It's incredible to really see yourself, how far you can take yourself. How mentally strong are you was my question in the post.
Yeah.
And
it's
some fail on the first day. Some fail on the second day. But I promise you this, you will fail. If you're not accustomed to these challenges, if you are addicted to some of these things like the sugar, the healthy restaurant food that most, they're really popular now. The whole purpose of this is putting deposits into yourself without having someone else doing the work for you. So a lot of people turn to these healthy restaurants. I totally get it. I do it myself. But the point of this 14 days is how prepared are you? How much work are you willing to do and put these deposits within yourself, not to find the easy way out?
Got it. All right, so we have some viewers here. So if you guys have any questions for Carla as she's going through this, what kind of general questions? I mean, obviously, no one will know your body better, than you. So it's about awareness, really, right?
It really is.
Even the doctor doesn't know as much about
No.
my own body as I know about myself. I know what foods I stay away
Right.
from because the way they make me feel. You actually have broken it down to specific ingredients that make you feel a certain way.
Correct. And
so this is about just discovering what works. And I think the major one here, I think people will realize that, one, your body works better with lots of water in it.
Yep.
And two, how intolerant you are to these processed foods and dairy products.
So I want to talk about that, and I'm glad you brought that up. So I ended up seeing a doctor years back when I knew that I couldn't do dairy and certain things. I
can't even do bread.
I couldn't do bread or anything like that. I couldn't digest it well. So I ended up getting all these testings, and even the doctor, and I went to a couple of them actually, they told me everything I was allergic to. I'm like, okay, great. And even then, I had a difficult time with like, okay, I'm allergic to this stuff, so I'm just going to stay away from it. It doesn't do well with me. It bloats me, gets me sick, gives me fevers and all that stuff. I'm like, okay. So that was easy. But then I move on to other things that I'm like, well, I still get, kind of messy, bloated, and just don't feel right, energy low. Then I started getting deeper into the ingredients. And that's kind of what I started. So now when I go to restaurants, I'm like, okay, I get it's cauliflower, but what do you put in the cauliflower?
She always asks that. And it's kind of at first it was very annoying for me because she can't even order from the menu and just be done with it. It is like a 5-minute process. Now it's like we all order ahead of before she does because we know the time she's going to take. She says, I'll take, like just the other day, you say, I'll take the broccoli. And they were surprised when you said, I don't want any butter on it. But like even the restaurant food that you ordered, you don't know truly what they put into it.
Right.
So that juicy chicken that you thought was so healthy could be completely sauteed in butter.
Right.
And you're consuming all these
Right.
additional calories and fats that you really don't need.
So I saw somebody I'm coaching through this process posted restaurant food, and they said eating healthy, and they posted at a Chinese restaurant, they posted chicken and veggies, Chinese restaurant.
But
of
it's,
all
I'm
places.
sure it's full
It
of
is
oils.
full of it, or it wouldn't be delicious, and they wouldn't be profitable. So, and that's kind of the way I always tell people: if you're, I get it, it's healthy, I get
It's
it.
chicken and rice, but the way the chicken and
right.
rice is made. It's
or the
fried rice
restaurant wouldn't
and
be
the chicken.
profitable. They wouldn't
So-
make good food, and people wouldn't come in and eat.
One of the things that I've seen you do is you say, how is the chicken prepared?
I always ask that
And then
question.
you said,
Every restaurant is so different.
Yeah, and everyone was sautéed in this. We put this glaze on there, and all those are additional calories we don't account for. We just see the chicken. That this is healthy. But what you do, you said, I want just a grilled chicken with nothing on there. You
Right.
can put seasoning, salt and pepper, right? But besides that, just grill it.
Because a lot of
And
the
then-
restaurants will have their own way of making it.
Yeah, they
with
have like
different
all
sauces.
these glazes.
Right.
They have like these sauces.
And again, a lot of that has sugar. Yeah.
sugar, and additional fats and calories.
Right. So I can easily go home and say that restaurant did not fit me well, AZ. No, it's not the restaurant.
It's all the
way,
ingredients.
all the ingredients that I started getting deeper into my research on what was bad for me. So I go to another doctor, And that doctor tells me the same things. And I love that doctor because what he told me was like, all you can do for yourself is start journaling how your body reacts for everything that goes into your mouth. So instead of overcomplicating and making difficult, stop going into these difficult dishes because it gets really, really difficult. So why don't you just eat the basics? Why don't you eat clean? Why don't you eat? And so that doctor taught me a lot. I was like, wow. So goes to say, you just said a very valuable point. Not all doctors know how your body's going to react. They literally, a lot of them tell you, at least my doctors, they'll tell you, the gastro doctors, journal everything. We can take as much as blood work, we can do everything, but you have to journal what you do on a daily basis. Stress is humongous. I could literally be sitting at my desk at 3, and I just had a conversation like this with one of somebody I'm coaching through. I can literally be sitting at my desk at 3 or 4 o'clock, and I see an email or I see pressure. All of a sudden, I just feel my stomach, my bloatiness. I'm like, holy crap, I'm under stress. And it's not easy for it to come down. It's not easy to go back and say, okay, let me take a walk, stress is over with. No, once it catches up to you, it catches up to you. And it will stay like that for some time. So if you're that person that's addicted to weighing yourself, it's crazy because you can literally look at the scale and it will, go high. And as all this water retention, all the stress you're holding on to, so there's so many different types of things that happen to you throughout the day if you're not journaling how your body is reacting throughout the day on certain foods, on certain times, and just things like I said, people choose healthy restaurants. But again, how do you know what's in that, specific plate?
So you can go if you can't find a means to cook it yourself, or we have a prep company that does that for us. Who do we use? Fit Choice Foods. Fit Choice Foods here in Arizona that we order all our food from. And you still end up cooking your own chicken and stuff like that. But they are very aware of about the ingredients that they put into it. It's fresh food. So whatever if you decide to go with a meal prep company, just ask more questions like what they use to grill it in. Do they use any butters or
sauces, dairy products, oils? And it's not that it's bad for you, AZ. It's just, is it bad for you?
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad. It's just, does it work for you? Start monitoring those things because, again, certain things could do well for one person and not the other person. And this is another thing that I had posted on here. Start being honest with yourself on what really is working for you. Stop walking away and assuming it's, that specific item that can be like tuna, fish, or whatever. It's like, how are you coffee? I heard coffee. I can't drink coffee because, it makes me go to the bathroom. I'm like, it's not the coffee. What are you putting in your coffee? So really start paying attention to all those little things and stop blaming it on, that specific plate, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just start really looking into what is in that actual plate.
Got it.
Next, alcohol. So alcohol. Do we have questions? Do you want me to answer anything?
No
Are you
questions.
good? Okay. So alcohol.
Please ask questions if you have them. We could only assume we're covering everything for this 14-day challenge. And just in general, like what's keeping you from being in the best shape you want to be in? Is it the commitment to the gym? Is it the commitment to food? What diets have you tried? What's failed? What have you won at? And it's really just discovering what works for you. I know what works for me. I stay in shape. I'm not ripped by any means, but I am in really good shape for my age and where I'm at because I have a consistent menu of items that I consume every single day.
Right.
And it's mostly made up of chicken and rice. I mean, the way I dress it up is through hot sauces like Tabasco sauce or any other hot sauce that adds very little sugars or very little additional calories.
Right.
But that keeps me consistent. I know how I'm going to feel. I know that if I'm energetic and feel right, that I'm going to kill the day. So many times when I don't have my meals prepped, I'll go to a restaurant and like the second half of my day is shot.
Right.
Just because of all the chemicals and all the stuff that I'm not used to eating.
Right.
Have now shut me down. But what else do you got for us? You said no alcohol.
The no alcohol for 14 days could be challenging for some because, at least I've got message on people like to drink a little bit of glass red wine.
Red wine.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with red wine or anything like that. But again, it contains sugar. So I'm not even saying that it's bad. I mean, if it relaxes you, take the glass. I'm not going to tell you it's bad, but it's only 14 days. But the reason why I don't do alcohol like that is just because it's not counterproductive. It just shoots down my results. It weakens me the next day. I don't have the energy. My mind is off a little bit. So wine doesn't do well for me. Liquor doesn't do well for me. I'm not going to put in all this hard work into what I do by just sabotaging it through alcohol. I mean, come on. Alcohol's not good for you, period. I mean,
It's a
you should
depressant.
know that.
It's
Yeah,
a depressant. So, it's meant to kind of like help you relax. But
And then for the
what
mo-
else happens beyond that?
And for the
mentally?
most part, when you drink, you always get hungry. You get the little munchies.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason why I stay away from alcohol, because of the little munchies afterwards that I get.
You can't have wine without cheese
Right.
or crackers.
Or you
it's
can't
just
have
like,
wine with a little bit of pasta, from what I see, and things like that. So the
Yes,
next day,
good.
I don't feel right. And I just stay away from alcohol. Don't take me wrong. I'll take some alcohol here and there, but I don't do it.
It's not part of your daily regimen. It's not part of your weekly regimen. It's every once in a while.
It has to be for a reason that I'm drinking that alcohol. It's just not something I do on a daily basis, nor on a monthly sometimes. So, and you and I will go out, and what's kind of nice about it, a lot of times we'll drink water, but we're at the bar. And so it's the environment. We kind of want to be part of that kind of deal, have fun, but we do it in other ways. We're also more connected. So I'm not drunk. I'm not
Just to
trying
spend time with me?
hide this long day, stressful day, through alcohol. I just don't. I put my mind where it needs to go to start up again.
Love it.
So
guys, I want to remind you, you have an opportunity to ask Carla questions regarding nutrition or anything that's keeping you back from getting the body or the feeling you want out of your body. So please ask away. And again, just to give you some, Carla is a certified trainer. Carla is an IFBB Pro. Carla has also been very aware of what's worked for her with her body. So she has a lot of things that have worked for her that could possibly work for you. So ask your questions. All right, Carla, what else?
The no restaurant, no fast food. And that can get really difficult, just because I can go in complete details with that on why no restaurant
But
food.
again, I guess if they stick to the rule here, if you go to a restaurant, fast food is going to be tough to get anything healthy.
Right.
But if you do go to a restaurant, ask more questions outside of this, right?
Right.
The
If
challenge
the
is saying don't
14
go for 14 days.
Right,
But outside of this.
Outside of the 14-day challenge, when you're done with it, then go ahead and ask those
more
right
questions.
questions and ask more questions on what is in your dish
Yeah.
and how they prepare your food. But in the 14-day challenge, the reason why I say no restaurant is because I want you to challenge yourself. How committed are you to yourself on cooking your own meals? Are you consistent? You know what you're cooking versus going and having somebody else do it for you. You know exactly what's going into your dish. And that's the reason why you're more disciplined. How strong is your mind? Are you able to wake up earlier to pack these, these prep meals for yourself? That's what it is. It's just more discipline to start killing it throughout the week.
Because this will eventually bleed off into other things that you do. The way you show up in other aspects of your life,
Right.
obviously. So it is a conditioning process.
And not only that, restaurant food, I think a lot, for the most part, on people I've coached, you do fairly well Monday through Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday's a hustle. I mean, because it's a hassle, not a hustle. It's a hassle for you because you're surrounded by friends and family and events and parties.
Barbecues.
And that is the hardest. Number one, to carry your gallon and drink enough water. And two, to carry your own meals because you want what everyone else is having. So again, I will ask you, how mentally strong are you to hold off on those, little knickknacks that you want to just chew off a little piece here, piece there. All of a sudden, at the end of the weekend, on Sunday, you're like, oh shit, I was a garbage disposal all weekend because I deprived myself of all these things. But it's not depriving yourself. It's just you're eating everything fresh. If you want sugar and you want breads and pastas and hamburgers, you might want to ask yourself, why do you want all these things? There's more to it than that. So it's not about dieting, calorie restriction. It's just getting to know yourself a little better.
Yeah, because you don't have a calorie restriction here.
No.
All you're saying is eat better quality foods, better choices, drink water, and stay away from certain packaged foods. So it really is just a conditioning process.
Right.
And so instead of looking for a quick fix or a diet, you now know what works for your body.
Right.
And now at that point, now it becomes about portion control.
Right.
Now, what are some of the things that, like, we started out years ago?
Well, some of the things, and I'm going to give
old.
you guys some of the things that I've taught, and I teach to some of my clients and people that I'm coaching through right now, is the size of your palm. And I've stuck with this for years. And I still, to this day, will occasionally here and there, if I don't have, obviously you're not going to go into restaurants or anywhere and measure carry measuring cups, in which, by the way, I did at one point in my life. So, but after a while, you're just like, okay, how do I measure how much I'm actually eating? So what I've done, and AZ has done, we use the palm of our hands,
Like the fist or the palm, yeah.
to really measure our food. So if you are pasta lovers and you are all this, off, the 14-day challenge,
Rice,
let's
I
say,
love
rice
rice.
and all that, how much do you really know that you're eating?
Like when you go to, let's say it's a fresh teriyaki place, right?
Right.
Like I don't get it with the teriyaki sauce. Obviously,
Right.
there's like 40 grams of sugar
Right.
in that. So you order the chicken, but the rice,
It's literally
I get
a whole
like
bowl.
A bowl.
Right.
When it should
Same
only be.
thing. Same thing goes when you go to restaurants. People order a really healthy oatmeal, but you're consuming so many calories because in this oatmeal is a huge bowl with all kinds of fixings in it. So what I do is I normally measure it because obviously oatmeal should be measured before it's cooked. Most of these restaurants don't, so you're probably eating like 3 cups of oatmeal, not even knowing it. So what I do is I go based on the size of my fist and I ask for an additional bowl. I pour it in there and I tell them take away the bowl. And they're
So
like,
that's a
why?
hack right
It's a
there.
waste of money. I'm like, it's not for me. I have goals. So they kind of look at you a little weird. But at the end of the day, I'm staying away from the oatmeal, overeating and being right in front of me. I do the same thing when I do hamburgers. I do this. I cut my hamburger in half or I order from the child menu size. I do all these things, but it's not depriving myself of food because you know what I do? I still have my regular meals.
So here's one thing that I don't know if you heard Carla say. She'll actually take her food and she'll take away all the stuff that she shouldn't be eating and tells the waiter to take it away immediately. So she's not under this pressure. Is it wasteful? Is it wasteful is it even better for you if you eat it versus just telling them to take it away, right? So you're saying some people might call that wasteful because let's say you order your meal and you tell them to take 3/4 of it away or half
Right.
of it away or a quarter of it away. It's not wasteful. By you eating it doesn't make it any better.
Right, no.
Because you didn't ask for all
It's
that
kind of like the
food.
parents that tell the kids, make sure you wipe that plate because it cost me $12.99. Eat
Yeah.
it all. And you're like, okay, so these kids are growing up to be like, well, my parents always taught me to eat everything on my plate.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, just eat as much as you want. Don't overdo it. And our kids at least are like, I don't like to overeat, so I just cut my hamburger. You'll see our kids taking bites here and there, but they don't overeat.
We don't
and we don't make them
chastise
feel guilty.
Yeah, we don't make them feel guilty if they don't eat their entire plate. They eat until they're full and then they're done.
Right.
And those are the habits that most of us as adults have carried on. Because I remember my parents, I couldn't leave the table until every single, bit of it was completely gone.
Right.
My plate had to be licked essentially in order for me to be done. But now it's like it's okay to, not overeat or
Right.
not eat the entire plate, especially restaurant food.
And now that we're moving on to kids, AZ, what I do, another little hack that I do with my kids is if they want something junky, I'll have them eat something that I cook them, something healthy, and then I'll say after this, if you still want what you want, we'll go get it. And sometimes they'll say, yeah, let's still go get it. And it's hilarious because they'll take a sip or two or a bite or two. So it kind of cuts their cravings and they get a healthy meal. And at the same time, you're not depriving them of all the junk foods because they're kids. They should live a little junky life, somewhat of that. So I have a question, right? How
could you, let me read it. How
Okay.
could you prevent or deal with cravings when going through sugar withdrawals? Sugar withdrawals, you'll start getting headaches. You'll start maybe seeing double. What? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
Okay, this is the way I've dealt with it in my past. I normally will get up and I'll take a walk if I'm at my office. I'll start to walk. I'll start to listen to some music, things that relax me. It's only for a quick moment. It doesn't last forever. But if you're sitting there really thinking about it, it's going to overpower your mind, and obviously it's going to take over. So you're just like, screw it. Why am I even doing this 14-day challenge? Let me eat the cookie or the candy that I'm eating. So get up and start doing something. This is a funny thing. I used to do push-ups and I used to do sit-ups, and I committed myself to like 30 minutes or 15 minutes. And then after that, I'm like, okay, if I'm still craving it, then maybe
You've earned a little.
Yeah, I've earned it a little, right? But for the most part, my mind starts to shift and I start to just feel good with just, even 25 push-ups or sit-ups or whatever you're wanting to do, that you start to feel good. You're like, this craving is not really that like wonderful. I really don't want it anymore. But if you're sitting there and overthinking it, you're obviously probably most likely stressed
out, yeah.
of something that has to do with work, kids, home, marriage. I don't know. So you need to find yourself why this is the whole purpose of this challenge. Why do you crave so much sugar? Why do you have the sugar tooth?
And when you say
the
why,
sweet
it's
tooth?
like what's triggered that? Like
Right.
what's going on at your job?
Right.
Who just called you?
Right. Something's
what
always
just happened?
triggering that. And
Yes.
for the most part with my clients, they get triggered about 2 to 3 o'clock. And all of a sudden they get that sugar, like I want sugar, I want carbs. And your body is stressed, it's calling for something. So take a short walk, write in your journal what's bothering you, have a conversation with someone. So I can just kind of get off your mind. Listen to music. I listen to a lot of classical music. I listen to a lot of Christian music. And there's certain things that I do to throw that kind of takes me away. There's just, those are little things. Those are little hacks. You can get into some vitamins, all that, but then again, we're making it a little difficult. So this is really about finding yourself on a deeper level.
Got it. All right. So second question here is like examples of food, like combinations they can actually eat. Like, it's not as easy as people, as it seems, Carla. What are some examples of things we can eat?
Okay, so
throughout the day.
Throughout the day, don't make it so difficult. It's only 14 days. So let's not make it overwhelmingly difficult and start to say, can I have a little bit of this and that, and adding some sauces and a cup of that. And don't make it hard on yourself. It's only 14 days. Stick to the basics. Go into your produce area where you have all your fresh veggies. Try some new things that you've never tried before. You may have not liked broccoli 10 years ago, but I bet you like it now. Your taste buds constantly change. So go in there and try to find that fresh food. Cook your meals. There's chicken, there's fish, there's lean meats out there. And I know people say stay away from red meat because it's not
bison.
good for you.
I like bison
but
a lot.
Bison's good, but don't overdo it. Again, one little hack like I told you guys to use the size palm of your hand, so you're not eating 6 or 8 ounces of all this meat that just kind of stays in there and you're bloated with all this meat. So again, don't deprive yourself from the things you love. Eat a lot of fruit, fresh fruit. Watch your fruit, because if you're eating 20 bananas a day, we got some sugar problems there. So just kind of be conscious of what is going in your mouth.
No additional sugars, not the natural sugars like from fresh fruits.
Yeah, it's not from fresh fruits,
but it also doesn't mean to go out and get some fruit smoothies because that's full of sugar.
Right. Or overloading. I know someone had asked me about their smoothies. They add bananas, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries. They had all this, and I'm like, wow, your fruit smoothie, that's why you have a ton of energy. It has nothing to do with the greens. It has all that sugar that you're intaking by all these fresh fruits, which is not bad for you. But again, everything in moderation, because you'll start to gain those
pounds.
I'm
glad you said moderation, because we got a question here from Nilsa Video, my little sister. What would you recommend for snacks throughout the day? Are nuts okay? And here's the thing. Like, nuts are healthy. But what I notice is, like, when I buy a bag of nuts,
it all goes.
It all goes. But I'm eating healthy, but yet I just consume like 150 grams of
fat. So let me ask you this, because I live with you and I know who you are, and so I'll give a prime example on AZ. So he does, but what I do when I get the almond bag, I put them in little baggies,
little Ziploc,
right?
Little quarter.
Yep. So I noticed this, and I got this little hack because I saw AZ doing this. We order the bags, or we go to Sprouts and we get all kinds of nuts, right? They're good for you. Almonds and all that's good for you. But AZ had a habit of, he would be on the cell phone and he would walk back and forth and grab it with a hand. He would be at his office, grab more. So I'm like, dang, you ate so much fat on almonds alone. He would grab them and just put them on his palms and so on and so forth. So this little hack that I did, when I buy almonds, I actually pre-pack them in little baggies, and I put about 25 to 30 almonds, and that's what he'll take. So he no longer is picking from the bag, but he'll grab himself a little baggie and he'll eat that. So out of sight, out of mind kind of deal, but they're prepackaged.
For example, cashews, 1 ounce, which is about, I don't know, 10 to 12 little cashews, is 12 grams of fat.
Right. So you imagine when you don't know how many you're eating.
After handful, I probably have 100 grams of fat by the time I'm done with that.
So in that moment when you're doing that, you really need to find out why you're doing that. One, you're probably overloaded with work. You have a lot on your mind. You're hungry. But why are you hungry if you just ate a really good meal an hour before? So all these things are little things that you might want to consider to rethink on why you're eating so many almonds. You're stressed out? Are you just accustomed to having something in your mouth, the chewing constantly, food? There's all these little things that you might want to go into detail on getting to know. So healthy snacks are almonds. Just make sure you don't overdo it.
Yeah, just grab a portion of it, put it in a little bag, and that's going to be it.
And that's going to be it.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can stock them yourself. That way you know that that's that baggie, and you're not constantly counting 25 almonds. It's just ridiculous. But you'll know how much you're actually consuming, you know. So there's little things. I tend to throughout the day, bell peppers are good for you. They're really fulfilling. They're kind of bloat you. They help you with the water retention. They keep you full. Little things like that you like, fresh veggies in a little bag, you can put that in there. Those are little things that you can eat throughout the day because veggies constantly keep you full for the next meal. And I'm going based on what I do. That's works for me. And I'm a vegetable lover. Obviously, I have an own garden at my home. I just love veggies because it's not that I'm overeating them in the sense of depriving myself of food. They keep me full and they're good for you. And a lot of them are antioxidants, so they're good. So those are some little hacks.
Yeah. So again, the whole point of this is to be able to discover what works for you. This is not a diet.
Also,
this is just awareness.
Another thing that I do is I get these little plastic cups, and I buy the peanut butter. But what I do is I put a tablespoon or two into these little plastic cups, and I use that as a snack throughout the day as well. And I'll put it on, half an apple or something. But I don't buy the packet of peanut butters, and I don't carry peanut butter with me. So if you see the jar there, you're just going to pick at it. So what I do is I pour it into a little small cup and I do a tablespoon or two. And that's kind of another hack that I do throughout the day.
And a true tablespoon, not my tablespoon.
Not your tablespoon. That's a big freaking spoon that you cook with.
Looks like an ice cream when I...
Yeah, no, it's a little tablespoon. That's another little hack.
Just little hacks.
Yep.
Awareness. So one of the things is, people say, I'm eating all the right foods, yet I still can't lose weight. Then it goes beyond just the food, right? It can go maybe just the amount you're exercising, but I think it goes beyond that, which is the stress.
It could be stress. So I have a client right now that is just kind of stuck getting into that wall. And the deeper in a conversation that we start to talk, I start to find out that life is extremely stressful. It is really, really stressful. He has a lot going on in the family. He has a lot going on with the kiddos. There's a lot going on. So now our conversation is, okay, at what time of the day and how many hours, what time of the day are you having the stress, the stress like piling on you, and how many hours are you actually sleeping? Because that's huge. If you're not really sleeping, if you're sleeping 4 hours, well, you're constantly eating from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. Or some of people who are really stressed out don't eat at all. And so I've had that conversation with people that tell me, I don't know why I'm gaining weight. I hardly eat. Well, then that's a problem. Your body is holding on to everything because it's starving to death, and you don't have time to just sit and chill out and eat a really good meal. So there's all these little triggers that are happening to your body, and you're thinking, I can't lose weight, which at the bottom of my post goes with that conversation, no lies and no BS, because you really have to start asking yourself, why aren't you losing weight? If you're perfectly healthy and you've gone to the doctor, and I always tell this to my clients before I start coaching, you go to the doctor, find out first where that lies first, because the last thing you want to do is start putting your body under all this pressure, and you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes and all these things wrong with you, then that's a different conversation. But in overall, if you're healthy and you've gone to the doctor, you've done your blood work, nothing's wrong with you, you're just gaining this weight, there's some BS and some lies going on there within yourself that you might want to stop and rethink. Why can I really lose weight? No one's watching me. What am I really doing that I'm telling my coach, Carla, I'm doing everything you're telling me and I'm not losing weight? BS.
Yeah, that's what you do outside when no one is watching. Final thing, little condiments. Mayonnaise, bad. Ketchup, super bad. These are the things that if you can omit and just find an alternative, maybe mustard, maybe some type of hot sauce, those will go a long way, right? Because these are just straight fats. This is stuff that's going to go straight into your belly, your thighs, and everything of that nature, right? It's things you can avoid.
It shocks people when I order my salads, and they're really. We just went on went on a trip with your sister and my brother-in-law. And they're so funny because I ordered a salad, and I ordered a basic chicken salad because that's all they had on the menu that would fit me. So I'm like, and I'm not a salad eater, by the way. That was specifically what they had there because it was all cheeseburgers and whatnot. So, but it was funny when I ordered it. I told the lady basically bring me lettuce, tomatoes, and chicken on it. Again,
no dressing, no nothing.
She's like, you don't want any dressing. How about side of lemons? It seemed so odd to her. So anyway, they messed up the chicken order, whatever, on the thing on my salad. And she comes back to me. She goes, we're working on your special salad. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to let that go because I don't know what special means. I just basically asked for no dressing.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said no dressing is because even though we order a balsamic vinaigrette, which is good for you, balsamic vinaigrette's good for you, and then you order the salad, Some of these restaurants drench it. I mean, literally pour half of balsamic, and you're like, wow. So a lot of us are like, oh, this is healthy. But I mean, you really got, and again,
Even
if
the
you want to
little
go into
like
the
even
ingredients.
if you order on the side, I mean, they give you like this. It's not even like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. It's like almost like
It's
a half
again,
a cup.
it's another oatmeal situation. They
Yeah.
just pour that stuff. So it's not that it's bad for you. It's just how much are you actually eating on the balsamic vinaigrette is what my question is. So why make things difficult? Don't give me balsamic, please. Give me a side of lemons. Make sense?
Yeah. I'm not sure why the broadcast comes and goes. Let's see, Eddie. I'm not sure if it's on our side or on your end. Are we having any problems there? No, we got a full connection here. Not
So
sure.
I think I went through them all. No dairy, no cheese, no almond, and no yogurt. For that being is because, well, for the most part, cheese bloats you. Come on. Dairy and all these things, do the research, do everything.
Odds are they probably bloat
They
you.
probably bloat you.
They
So
probably do something to your
go,
digestive system.
read on it, do the work, see what works for you. And I promise you this, that if you eliminate all dairies from 14 days, you'll notice a significant difference in your gut.
Stop, yes, in your gut. But stop the dairy for 14 days. No cheeses, no sour creams, no cotton, none of that. And then then drink some milk on the
Right.
14th day. You'll
Right.
see how fast
For
your
the-
body's like.
For the most part, a lot of my
this is-
clients, once I have them on this day challenge, they literally will stay away from it all afterwards because they start to see the significant difference. They're like, oh my gosh, on the 15th day, I went and had a cup and I needed to go to the bathroom. And I didn't realize how bloated my stomach was. They love I don't know why I'm feeling my stomach, but they love the way they feel after the no dairy thing, the no soy thing, the no anything. And they just love the results from it. So I promise
to
you,
stay
you will see a
motivated.
difference in that.
It's hard to stay motivated to go after the goals and ambitions you want to when you're not feeling it. And that's the whole point of this, is to try to find that power so you can go and achieve other goals that you have in life, with your business, with your marriage, with everything. And a lot of it has to do with nutrition. We're not talking about that you should be running 5 miles every day. You should be working out every day. We're saying, okay, what can you do? What food choices can you make
Right.
that will do good for you, that make you feel good? Water
Right.
will make you feel
Yep.
good. The right foods will make you feel good.
Yep.
And when you feel good, you do good things.
And this
So-
is the thing. I've been asked to, Carla, how do you carry on this lifestyle without just feeling bored and just being like, okay, why am I doing this for? This is ridiculous unless you're getting ready for, summer bikini or a wedding or whatnot. That's when people mostly want to lose weight, when they get a divorce, one, or when they go on a vacation or a wedding party and it's like, okay, now I got to lose 20 pounds. How do I continue this lifestyle? Well, I'm going to tell you the number one thing that I started doing. And again, if you don't follow me in all my stories, but essentially what it was is I put myself out there. I constantly put myself out there on social media. Photos of myself, things that I've created on my own. I've created my own world of fitness. By doing so, I was hanging out with constantly fitness freaks. I've learned off them. I became a student. But again, eventually I had to stop doing what they're doing because it didn't work for me. Now I had to go based on what works for me. So I started getting really knowledgeable and I just started learning from my coaches. I've had coaches. Now there's a difference between a trainer and a coach. I want to make that clear. They're not the same thing. I became a student. When my coach started coaching me, I paid attention. I started asking a ton of questions. I did a lot of work on my own. I researched on my own. I just became very knowledgeable on what worked and what didn't. Not necessarily because my coach said this works. It might not have worked, but I did a lot of research on my own on what works, and that's what you have to do on your own. So the thing that I did, like I said, I surrounded by myself and I created my own environment of continued badasses who wanted to make a difference. So I just brought back knowledge and I'm like, okay, let's try this challenge. Let's see if it works for you. For the most part, I got to tell you, the results have been on point. So I love what I do. And I did bring a couple of things with me because it has to start somewhere, right? And it started with my Fit in 12. So once I created my own environment, I brought people alongside of me and I created Fit in 12. Now it doesn't exist anymore because I was part of Do the Work.
Do the work, yeah.
But, it had to start somewhere. So I put myself out there as much as possible, put myself on the light. So you're saying
if you're really serious about making these big,
I didn't hide.
These big targets.
Uh-huh.
If you're really serious about losing and don't set some outrageous numbers right at the beginning. It's like small targets. Let's say in 3 months 10 pounds. That's totally doable, and that's 10 pounds lighter. And listen to this: like if you do 10 pounds in 3 months, over a year, that's 40. That's huge.
Right.
But what ends up happening, people strive for the 25 pounds. They lose the 25, but then end up getting 40 pounds by the end of the year.
And I'm not going to lie to people. When people call me and they're like, help me lose weight, I need to lose 20 pounds in, I don't know, ridiculous amount of time. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to say I'm not the coach for you. You might want to go find somebody who is going to help you in that department, because I will not sabotage you like that. I will not do that. There'll be nothing that I'm going to do that's going to make you lose this massive amount of weight only for you to gain it all back.
Well,
I just don't
you've
do
been
that.
warned somebody, and let me just tell you the story. I'm not going to name any names, but somebody came to you and saying, hey, I'm going to the beach on this day. I need to lose 35 pounds in about like 2 months.
I made it happen.
And you made it happen. But you knew what was going to happen after that.
And I told them that.
You said, you're going to gain all that weight back.
Right.
Plus 15, 20 pounds more. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because we're depriving ourselves so much that when we get when we cross the finish line, which is the trip to the beach, all of a sudden they're overeating, over-consuming, and next thing you know, everything comes about. And it's just part of the reaction of the body. It's going to happen. So your whole point is, this is a lifestyle.
Right.
And this is about the long game.
And the thing too is, how do you continue this lifestyle? And I just said it right now. To be consistent, you have to put yourself out there in the light. Share your goals with your family and friends. If you're not a social media person, if you're uncomfortable doing that, that's okay too. But share yourself with other people. Spread your knowledge on what you're doing so you can create your own environment. And that's what it's about.
And it creates accountability too.
It does, because people are, you're kind of, if you're saying this is what you're going to do and you're doing something else and someone's watching you, you're going to feel uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, I'm a bullshitter on my goals. And you'll start to feel uncomfortable. And I promise you this, you will fail. I promise you this, you will fall off. I promise you that. You will give up. You will not want to do it. You'll start to ask yourself, you'll doubt all these questions like, why am I even doing this? But I promise you, all this is going to happen to you. But that's why it's important to create this environment that people are watching you and holding you accountable.
So you can get back
on it and say, damn, I failed, let me get back on it. And that's where you kind of have to put your pride away a little bit, because a lot of times you're like, damn, I messed up. Let me hide a little bit. I don't want anyone to know I gained 10 pounds again. It's like, no, just get back on it. Just do what you need to do and spread that love again. Get that knowledge out there. Spread it. And that's what's incredible when people are embarrassed to go back in the light. Like, I don't want anyone to see I've gained all this weight. No, I think it's phenomenal, because it shows that you're back on and you're committed again. It happens to everyone.
Yeah, it does. But I think, at some point that whole cycle has to stop. Where they say there's a claim, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and they lose the 20 pounds. And then they gain it back, and then they go back on. I lost 20 pounds, like if it's a new feat.
But
eventually,
and eventually it will, because you'll catch yourself in that ridiculous story.
It is a ridiculous story.
Right. So the more you put yourself out there with your ridiculous story, you're eventually going to be uncomfortable. At some point, you're going to make a change.
Yeah, because you got to go above just meeting the goal you already know you can prove. So yeah, you've proven you can lose 20 pounds. But what else can you do?
Right.
So yeah, I think a lot of individuals live within that whole space there of feeling accomplished when they're losing gaining the same 20 and then losing it, then gaining it and losing it. And it's like, okay, can you do anything beyond that? And this is what it's supposed to do. When you allow the accountability not to stop, it allows you to pass that threshold to now hopefully lose more.
All right, guys. So I posted this photo of me with holding my gallon and my meals. And in that post that I posted, I said, everybody show me what you got. Everybody show me, for the most part, water. And that's easy to buy. But what you got on your day. So share it with me. You can private message me, hit me up, do what you need to do. But do the research on your own. Get a journal. Find out what your body loves and hates, where your stress level's at, why you stress out, what time of the day you crave those carbs and sugar. Get to know yourself a little better. That is the purpose of this 14-day challenge. Best of luck to you. And I am here for the rant if you need it. I'm here 100% to support you. If you fall off, I'm also here to tell you, quit bullshitting and get back on.